Good morning, guys. I'm working on something new and different, but not new and different. It's still to do with spirits and spirituality and NDEs and afterlife communication and all of that, which is what we try to prove here on this channel, a big portion of it through our paranormal investigations. If you guys watch my channel and my brother's, you know that we do white noise at the sink through running water, record it, run it through AI, remove the white noise and the static, and we get voices, and it answers questions. And 100%, guys, I believe it is communication from a higher source. And it has told us many times that this is a gift. And last night I was watching one of the many channels I watch on YouTube, Shaman Oaks. And he was talking about a book that he had read and has now spent a year working on translating into a newer version because it was written it was written in French, I believe, originally, but old world language, so hard to read and understand in this day and age. And the book was by Allan Kardec, The Spirits Book. And basically, this was his life's work doing exactly what we do here on this channel, communicating with spirits. And they were telling him, that when he had these two medium friends that were younger girls, and they were always playful and out indulging in society and high life, but they would get medium things coming through to them. But when Allan Kardec was around, they would get much different messages, more profound. And he had questions about that, and he asked why, and they said because there were higher spirits coming through to give him more important messages. And we've had that same kind of stuff come through here on this channel, and I found that intriguing because this is what they've said about Grant and I's work. My brother does this as well. His channel, Optimal Frequency, he's done hundreds of videos recording white noise at the sink and then using AI to get rid of the white noise and produce voices, okay? I need to further these investigations. I am now reading The Spirits Book by Allan Kardec, and it's fascinating stuff, and it's hitting home. I sent this to my brother last night when I found it. I said, hey, check this out. He's already read 100 pages of this 500-page book this morning, and he said it hit home with him as well. So I have questions. I think we need to do a session on this. We need to maybe ask Allan Kardec himself. So Allan Kardec, and that's just his pseudonym for this book, he was a teacher, and he wrote many books. He was a scientist, actually. He taught botany and physics and was quite well-to-do in many Parisian layers of society. Okay, this was a well-to-do guy. But he changed his name for this book as the spirits told him to do. And so if you look this up, guys, Allan, Allan Kardec, Kardec, you can get this book for free, and it's on its third edition, I think. It's a PDF, it's free. You can download this. It's fascinating stuff because this is like the first recorded instances of these tellings from the spirits, right? They talk about what it's like on the other side, what NDEs are, all kinds of stuff. Fascinating. And if you've ever worried or wondered about anything that's come after that, you say, oh, where are people getting this information? Are they just making this up? Did they get this from a previous source? Well, this, I think, is the most original source that we can get in this in-depth level that he's produced here. So I'm going to be tearing into this over the next few weeks, along with the other psychology books and things I'm always reading. But we're going to tie these two together. I need to do a session on this guy. He founded the Parisian Society of Psychological Studies, and he was the president until his death. And so I forwarded all this to Grant last night, and I said, you know what? I think you need to do a session on this guy. He might be the missing spirit from the other side that could join Grant's team, because we've had in the past where Tesla and a few other spirits said that they would work to try to further communication with us through these systems that we're using. And I think there has to be other ways to do this other than collecting white noise at the sink. I don't know what it is, what the best way. People have used the radio signals, there's all kinds of ways. Psychics, but the problem with doing a psychic, if you're not one yourself, is you're still trying to rely on their messages from a third-party source. And in the last video I did, where I connected to family, a message came through and it sent chills down the back of my neck and is doing so again right now. And I don't know who it came from. I think it came from my great-grandmother or my great-aunt, because that's who I was talking to at the time of that video. And it said, I want to touch you, connect, you will get answers. Go back and watch the video. I'm getting full shivers down my arms right now, guys. And in the video before that, somebody had said, I want to teach you. So it's like we're progressively moving forward with this and growing in our ability to communicate with them the more we do this. And this book, the Book of Spirits, being dropped in my lap last night at midnight, and I find this, and it kept me up for a couple hours, looking at this and thinking about it and sending messages to Grant. That's not a coincidence. I was meant to find and read this book. So I want to do a little experiment here that Grant is not aware of, because he told me that he did a session this morning. He was so piqued by this that he did a session and he asked some questions to Allan Kardec. He didn't tell me anything about what they talked about or what is in his video. I have no idea. He hasn't even analyzed the responses yet. But what I'm going to do is sit down here, write up a bunch of questions, and we're going to talk to Allan just about spirituality, the afterlife, NDEs, communication, whatever questions I come up with. And if there's anything to this, I'm going to ask something along the lines of which Grant has asked, not knowing what he's asked, but hopefully we hit something along the same lines, and we're going to see if we get the same response. If there's anything that comes through in his video that matches anything that comes through in my video, I'll take that as a win. All right, here we are in my stairwell, the echo chamber of my house. The fish tank is not as loud as it normally is. But I can hear it bubbling away up there. So for today's session, I would like to speak to the author of the Spirits book. Okay, let's just analyze these responses. He's an old special gentleman. Okay, so right away they're talking in like old terms. Nobody calls anybody a gentleman these days, right? We met him. Definitely well-spoken. Heaven. So, who met him? Okay, who's ever giving us information here? Is that my spirit team? And I'm 100% sure they're talking about Allan Kardec. Here's a picture of Allan. Then they go on to reply, here is something for you, bear witness, promise you will. And then I hear a very faint female voice in the background say, save me from hell. Again, so there's always layers to this, right? Spirits talking over spirits, but I believe they are on point. They're talking about this well-spoken gentleman. And you have to keep in mind that Allan Kardec, he was French, okay? He spoke French, he spoke German. The next thing it says is, he's speaking English. Then, this part is weird. It says, watching old movies, teddy bear the same. They're just old rumors. Don't panic. So again, there's conversation going on in the background. But the mention of watching old movies and a teddy bear makes me think of my daughter and I. It almost made me think like that this spirit entity is now looking at something about my life. Like, hey, who's trying to communicate? Who's trying to contact me? And they're saying, well, he's speaking English. They're talking about me. My daughter and I watch old movies. That's our thing. It's what we do. We call it dad movies. And anything from the early 80s or even earlier, movies that I liked when I was a kid, we watch them together. We rate them. Then if they have new sequels out, we watch those. That's what we do. And if you guys are aware, you know that this channel started by me putting up videos of my daughter's teddy bear when she was a little kid. Blue Teddy. Right? That was the first series we ever did on this channel. So that's what I'm thinking when I hear that Kardec is checking me out. Like, hey, is this guy worth my time talking to? I'm going to send out white light and connect to this person right now. Were Grant and I meant to find your work and expand on it in modern times? Are you interested in helping my brother and I further communication? Okay, so I asked them if they really want Grant and I to further this communication, and I get a weird response. I listened to this many times, and it says, "Bring Savannah on this." And then I hear a female voice in the background say, "Can you help me?" Very faintly. Try to fix it with her checking your team in. Now, I would just blow this off, right? This is strange. It's saying a name, Savannah. But then I ask another question, and I hear Savannah again. Something about bring in Savannah. And so then I tried to find, is there a connection between Allan Kardec and a name Savannah? And I can find nothing, but I'm leaving this in there because it said that name twice. Now, my daughter's name is Hannah, and I thought, well, am I hearing this wrong? No, it clearly says Savannah. Tell me about my gift. And by the way, I do not know anyone named Savannah. Am I an old soul? I was a little confused in the last section here. It starts out, remember, we sent you that vision. Jack was on the leads table. God, don't you want to see her? For shame. This is a random connection. We're watching violence. You're dreaming this. And then I realized they're talking about the Jack and Carol murder case. Again, I think this is one of those snippets in time. They're talking about maybe the detectives watching them or the police watching them. I'm not sure. But are they talking about sending me a vision when I was working on that case? I don't know. It all gets muddled, but they said Jack, so we know who they're talking about. Which is annoying to me because I want to be talking about the Spirit's book. But Jack and Carol never take a break. They're just on me all the time. Okay, day 2, back at it. Now, this next section that we just heard, I'm leaving it in here because it's a freaking soap opera. And guys, this is absolutely, I believe, to do with the Jack and Carol murder case, 1960s. And we've got an interrogation of some kind happening here. They say Detective Black's name. They say, Black, you should tell to Black. Strange, she's hot. Said, I'm not. Apologies. One last question. And that part was very clear. One last question. Can you send this to us? It almost sounds like an interrogation. Say your name, Dennis. So to me, they've got him down at the station and they're interrogating the guy. And you should be talking to Black is what he's saying. But then there's another part to this where now he's talking to maybe the mafia, the mob, right? The father came to see us last week. And we know whose father that would be. That is Jack's dad. He hounded the police. Carol's father was in the mob, right? So it doesn't make sense that he would have went to talk to anybody. He already kind of knew what was going on. The social pissed off our boss. Again, that part was very clear. We change your money. Dennis, lose the stench. And I kind of had to laugh when I heard that because I knew right away they're talking about throw them off the scent. Throw those coppers off the scent, Dennis. We're helping you. We're changing your money. I don't know who Dennis is or what part he played in all this. And there's a huge shiver down the back of my damn neck. But they're telling us things that happened 60 damn years ago in this murder case, behind the scenes to do with police and mafia and mob and Dennis, whoever, he was working with the mob, getting them to change money, obviously. We know that now. I just need to find Dennis. But that's not what this video is about. I'm leaving it in here because it's fascinating shit. And you can hear this conversation going on. It's one of these snippets in time. I just want to talk about the Spirit's book, but they don't cooperate. Whatever comes through, comes through. I wish I had the power to direct the conversation and force answers on what I want, but that's not how it works. How do I connect? Tell me about heaven. Okay, that's funny, guys, because I clearly remembered hearing that tap on the wall beside me yesterday when I was recording and thinking it was strange. And I haven't got there yet in the editing process, but I also then heard a tap further up the stairwell on the opposite side. That's coming up, and they're saying, a male voice, "Can you hear us?" Then the female says, "Did you tap?" And then the male replies, "Maybe." How much longer do I have here on Earth to work on this? Me murdered? I highly doubt it. I lead a pretty boring life. This is the problem I have with doing what I do. We clearly hear conversations, we clearly hear voices, they clearly answer and say names of things that we're investigating, and then they say something stupid like, "I'm going to be murdered." Again, then my mind went back to the "he wouldn't believe us if we told him" statement that they made earlier. So yeah, you're right, I don't believe you. I don't think I'm going to be murdered. But if I am, you guys heard it here first. Tell me about my death. What is death? Can I become clairvoyant? So there's the answers I got, guys. Just a little bit of a test here. I'm going to contact Grant and say, "Hey, when are you putting your first video out on the Spirits book?" And I'll put mine out at the same time. So then you guys can watch his video and watch my video. And we'll see if I hit on any of the things that he asked or if we got any answers the same. I don't know. Is there a twin connection between us? Did we ask some of the same stuff? Did the spirits try to tell us any of the same answers? I don't know. Let's find out. Just a little experiment that even Grant is not aware that I did.